Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Hey, what's happening, folks? What's happening? Good evening to our Accuracy Hour. I'm John, the Firearms instructor, and I'm glad you are here. You know what to do. If you're new to the channel, you know what to do. If you're brand new, go ahead and comment. Let us know where you're from. We try to say hello and greet all of our new people who come up here and have found the channel for the very first time. Very quickly, a little announcement. We have been doing a lot of different stuff, and we try to remind you guys that subscribing to the channel makes a difference. A lot of you have done that, and I appreciate it very much. But a large percentage of people do not subscribe to the channel. It really costs you nothing, but it does support a family-owned business like mine. So I would ask you, before you leave today, if you are, please subscribe, like, hit that bell icon, and every time we upload a video just like this one, you'll be the next to know. Well, I hope you had a good week so far. It is Tuesday, so we got past the terrible Mondays, and now it is Tuesday. A little chilly this morning in Florida. I can't tell. I know Michigan got really jumped on and everything else like that, but I appreciate you guys being here. The comment section down below, you can always comment if you want to say hello. That's perfect. Mark 12, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. So today I'm going to give you 10 tips that are problems in the range that we're going to give you a tip and a problem and a fix. Basically, we're going to give you 10 problems and 10 fixes. I think this will be a fun one. By the way, if you see that little QR code up top there, that is our personal invitation and invite for you guys to get into the Skool community. If you don't know what the Skool community is, it is a D. Marshall. What's up, buddy? If you are just crawling out of a rock, the Skool community is the HTS. That stands for Handgun Training System. It's a great program. That little QR code up top there gets you the handgun training workshop, which is a 4-week masterclass on learning how to run your pistol properly. Not only is it a class, but it's videos on top of eBooks, on top of support from the community and support from me to get you from newbie to shooting your pistol on a regular basis. So in each week, we do these lives for YouTube for the purpose of educate, motivate, and entertain. And I hope I bring that to you this evening. We set these things up for us to give you as much information as possible. It looks a large amount of people are starving for accuracy, and that's what we do as a firearms instructor. I own a training facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida, and we teach firearms training. We take new students. That's who I specialize in mostly. New students, couples, things like that are coming to Florida, new to Florida, and want to learn to shoot a pistol. And we put the whole program together for them. That's what these little classes are about. That's what these little training things are about. So if you are going to the range and you're not getting any better, there's probably a lot of little things you're doing wrong. Most shooters are wasting ammo. They are wasting they're wasting a lot of time. They're reinforcing bad habits, and they have no real idea why their shots aren't improving. Well, tonight I'm going to give you that fix. I want to welcome you tonight to the Tuesday Night Accuracy Hour with your host, John Johnson. And here tonight we're going to break down what actually makes you accurate with a handgun and give you a system that you can use the very next time you go to the range. Accuracy isn't challenging as people would think. It's just there's a little caveats to each little thing. And as we lay these out for you, they're going to get some aha moments for yourself and be able to be comfortable. So tonight I'm going to give you 10 range time problems and how to fix them. Now, if you have a range time problem, Kurt Richards, what's happening, buddy? If you have a range time problem that you are continuously having, go ahead and comment this evening. Let's see if we can help you with that as much as we can. That's a good thing about the Skool community, because the Skool community, you're able to upload your targets to the community and get the community's feedback on what you're doing wrong. I would like to be there for every question that's there, but sometimes hearing it from somebody else, it soaks in a lot better as well. So the community is very supportive, very helpful, and they are learning as they go. And I would highly recommend, if you're not part of the HTS system, go ahead and get it. What's it cost? Nothing. It's free. It's absolutely free. We do have 2 upgrades for it. We have a premium upgrade, which is only $10 a month. And then we have our VIP, which gets weekly base stuff with me for the $24, $25, or $26 a month. So it's not that big of a deal, but it's less than $1 a day to become accurate with your pistol. I think it's well worth the time, energy, and support. So, number one problem I see most students do, and it's very common, is they're going to the range with no plan. They have no system. They don't really know what they're going to do. They know they're going to shoot 300 rounds, which is a problem in itself if you really think about it. But they have no real program set up, what they plan to do, what they plan to work on, what's the system we're going to put together this time. And that becomes a real challenge for you, because the moment you start shooting randomly and burning ammo, you are building a lot of bad habits. And those bad habits are very hard to break. And they become more challenging for us each time we do them. So here's the fix I would give you. Well, the HTS actually has a weekly drills that are in the Skool community that are open to the VIPs for weekly, the premiums monthly, and then once a month for just the regular guys that's signing up for it. But the skill, grip, sight, hand, all the little things, and each drill is there to challenge you as much as possible. But if you go with a purpose, let's say this week we're going to work on trigger press. Well, with trigger press, there's a lot of things you can do, like dry fire and live fire, but you will have a system down. Maybe you want to do a drill or two. Well, on my YouTube channel, there's drills you need to know, and there are downloadable targets for those as well. So I'd highly recommend you pick that up. Or maybe a goal or something like that. Maybe, hey, good evening, RMY, KJ. Good evening, boss. How are you, buddy? I don't know how to say that name, but I appreciate you being here. I don't recognize the name. Are you new to the channel, buddy? Have you been here before? Have you been on our live before? If so, that's great. If not, introduce yourself and where you're from. So having a goal could be just as easy as, let's keep working from the Philippines. Welcome. That's awesome. So you could physically have a goal of just the point of making sure that you're getting a decent grip. You may be getting a good group, maybe concentrating on a decent trigger press. But these goals should be not easy, but not rock solid hard either. but they should challenge you, right? The more they challenge you, the more they become hard. Once it becomes easy, then we move back a little further, make the targets a little smaller, or make the targets a little different than they are, right? But having a purpose when you go to the range is a real good way to start a good fundamentals for yourself. So that leading into number 2 would be problem I see on a regular basis is mag dumping or shooting too fast. You can shoot past your accuracy rate. You can shoot as slow as you want, but when you start shooting fast as you want, sometimes you're shooting faster than you can do it. I always tell students, they get in the range, they put the target up, they staple it up, and they push it all the way to the back, all the way to the back. Well, if they can't do it at 3 yards, what the hell are they trying to do it at 10 yards for, right? So working into those distances could be a good thing, right? But the more we start pulling the trigger versus pressing the trigger, there's where the problem becomes a real issue for us. When you're pushing or rushing, you're reinforcing bad habits. Again, those bad habits are going to cause us a lot of the magic word. I think Dennis wrote it down for me one time, called bobulation. If the front post is bobulating, it causes, hey, Jazz, what's going on, buddy? How's your wife and how are you? I'm glad you both are here. When you start getting this bobulation, there becomes our accuracy issue because that front post has to stay pretty level and pretty tight to the target. We'll get into the fundamentals of holding it still and everything else like that. But what tends to happen if that front post dips, that's where the bullet's going to do. There we go, D, with a bobulation. Thank you. Ding, 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 bobulation. So if the post is moving right, moving left, moving up, moving down, we've all seen the targets. We see where a bullet impacts. There's 2 in the middle. There's 1 high, 1 low, and 1 to the left. You know that's because the front post is moving an awful lot around. And a lot of times that happens because the person is shooting too fast or shooting to empty or rushing to empty is what I said last night in one of our lives we did. Too many people are rushing to Mike. What's going on, man? How you doing? New Jersey in the house there. Thank you for being here. We got another New Jersey up top there. Kurt Richards is in there too. So we appreciate both of you being here. So what do you need to do? You need to slow the shit down. Slow down. There's no reason to rush, right? I think we had a conversation last night through the school community, and we were talking to one of the students. And if you do it properly, 50 rounds should take you close to an hour. Because if you shoot 5 rounds at a time, which you guys normally don't do, but if you shoot 5 rounds at a time, bring the 5 rounds in, get your markers, evaluate your targets, figure out what you're doing, jot it down, take pictures of it, then shoot the target back out there, do 5 dry fires, then 5 live fires. You're going to start spending a little bit more time working that trigger press, working that sight picture, working that sight alignment, working that grip. You know, the idea of range time isn't let's shoot as much ammo as we can. The idea of range time is let's build a system that we can be accurate and proficient with, because we need to be proficient if we're carrying this weapon in a defensive situation, because we are responsible for our bullets until they hit the ground. The challenge we have, once we get into a high stress situation, your body is going to deem what it finds necessary, and what it doesn't, it ain't going to let you do it. So that whole scary movie thing where the guy falls and runs and falls and can't stand up, and that's real because the body shuts all that stuff off. So you may get tunnel vision. You may not get proper trigger press. The whole thing, people always talk to me and they say, oh, I'm going to rack it when I need it. Well, you may not have the ability to rack the gun when you need it. That may be out the window at that point in time. If you have a weapon that has a safety on it and you turn the safety on once in a while and not once in a while and once in a while, and you either turn the safety on, use the safety, or don't use the safety. But if you're going to use the safety, you need to do it every time. There are guns on the market today that have handgun safeties on them, but who's the true safety on the gun is you. That weapon will not fire unless you put your finger on the trigger. Booger picker off the bang button, guys. That's the key thing we need to remember as much as we can. So Mike says, I use the Mantis for dry and live and give me some feedback. Beautiful, Mike. That's perfect. I've done that. I bought a Mantis a while back. I hate the thing. That's the one thing. I could never get it. I mean, I don't think I was as bad as that Mantis said I was, but again, it's computers. It's one of those deals, but a lot of people love them. Speaking of dry firing, we have our HTS handgun inserts, those training inserts that go in your magazine, makes it simple and easy. Let me give you a QR code for that. That is up, ready to sell again. We finally got everything figured out through the internet. And here is that. You're looking to get your HTS handgun training insert. This goes inside your magazine, makes it very easy and simple to dry fire. These are $9.99. We ship them all over the United States for the free. All you have to do is sign up, put them in the cart, pay for them, click the QR code, and we do not track them because they're only $9.99. If I were to track the shipment of it, it would cost me $7, and there's no math that adds up to that. I have had a few that have got lost. I've had a few that I had to credit because they never got there, but out of 155 of them we sold, probably 3 of them we had to replace. So United States Postal Service is still shipping them, and they are the cheapest at $2 and something. So if you don't mind and you want to pick something, you want to support a family-owned business like mine, the HTS system is the handgun bullet insert is pretty simple. There are videos on my YouTube channel to show you what you look at. If you see the insert right there, it slides into your magazine, which gives you a full grip when you're working on the pistol, and you're able to dry fire that weapon. Most of my YouTube videos now have that in there every time we do them, so you'll be able to see them, but it does support a family-owned business like mine, and I would appreciate the support. Thank you. Let's go back, put the Skool community back up there. There it is, Skool community. And I'll share the HTS down the road here as well. So slow down, dry fire, spin demand. You slow down, work on a good trigger press. Think about the press drill, which is that spelling PRESS, in a cadence of bringing the trigger back, PRESS. In between the first S and the second S, the gun should cut. These shots should be surprising to you. I would tell you, you need to demand that you have the perfect trigger press. This is the key thing for most people to be accurate with a pistol, or consistently accurate with a pistol, is getting that trigger cycle down to a science that feels good to you. Trust me, speed will come when you have confidence and control of the weapon. But if you don't have control, there becomes our accuracy issues we're going to run into. All right. Number 3, and you probably already figured number 3 is coming pretty quick here, is the pull of the trigger. I could probably do a whole channel on pulling of trigger, and I practically have. Now I've got 800 and some odd videos, and about, I would say probably a third of those about trigger press or trigger pull or trigger manipulation or trigger something, trigger. It's all about the trigger. It really, last night, the guys from the HTS, we had our Monday night call with the premium and the VIP members. We do a live call with the whole group the first Monday of the month. And then the VIPs and the premium, they get a little bit of one-on-one time with me, and the VIPs get a little bit more than that. But we were talking about that last night with the group. And, you know, one of the things that a lot of people tend to, I asked them last night, kind of loading the question, if you were standing in a group of people today and there was somebody standing there next to you wanting to go shooting for the very first time, and you were wanting to give them the number one tip, the number one thing that would be make sense and it would help a student out, it would be trigger press. And we all agreed last night, because in the realm of things, you could have everything wrong, but if you got a decent trigger press, you're still going to have a decent group. It may not be a tight group, but they're going to be consistently together, right? But if you've got perfect grip and you've got a perfect sight picture and you've got perfect stance and you're pulling or slapping or jerking the trigger, your bullets are going to impact all over the place. And I proved that in the video we just dropped the other day. I think Monday, I proved that because I did a pull of the trigger drill, and then I did I did what I did on that one is I did what students would do. I've got a magazine, I've got ammo, I loaded that bitch up. I didn't load it to 15, but I loaded up to, I think, 10 or 12 rounds. And I just laid it out. Pop, 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 pop. And that group was wide. You'll see the video, but it was wide, elongated, and to the left. And I kind of explained to the YouTubers, I said, this is what's caused. This is why low and left happens. This is why your impact. This is why your groups are wide. And I kind of just showed them that there was no control of the pistol. And it was kind of one of those over torquing, under torquing, too much finger in the gun. I really had my finger deep in the pistol. I was doing everything I teach you guys not to do. That's what I was doing. And it proved it, because it was a big, wide wrath of it. It looked like a slice of watermelon, to be honest with you. And then we brought the target back. I tell you guys all the time, shoot 5 rounds. But this time I put 10 rounds in the magazine, and I shot a pretty decent group. I mean, they were all like that, pretty tight group. I may have pulled one, I don't remember exactly, but I got, you know, I was happy with it because it really showed control. But one thing I did was I shot that drill pretty fast, and I was shooting that drill pretty fast because I had confidence, I had control. I found my sight system. I stayed behind the pistol, had a good follow through, and let the gun rise and fall during the shots. And they weren't flipping and moving an awful lot. So one of the things we got to get ourselves in is, if you're right-handed and you're right eye dominant, the gun's got to be your right side. The pistol's got to be over your dominant eye. Same thing, right-handed, left eye dominant. Working with a student today, we had to get him to make sure he understood the gun. If you're left eye dominant, you can't turn your eye over the gun and put it over there. You've got to turn if you're left eye dominant, your chin needs to go to the left. It's going to be a lot easier and more confident for you and more producible in high stress, right? We want to be here over the nose, but we want to be over the dominant eye. We don't want to be over the nose, if that makes sense. And that's one of the challenges when most students who shoot a pistol over their nose versus over their dominant eye, it makes a big difference on impact of bullet, especially when you're jerking the trigger or you're doing something like that. So this is what the fix is. We need to press the trigger in the rear of the gun. We need to be at a smooth cadence as best we can. No jerking, no surprise breaks, no pulling, no jerking. We should bring that trigger back as slow as we can. And when that weapon cuts, it should shock you a little bit. One of the challenges most students, when I say to you, hey, did you realize that gun was going to fire? And they say, yes, I knew it was going to fire. Well, that means you're pulling the trigger. If you're pulling the trigger, you're pulling the bullet. You can't pull it. You got to press it. And we're driving it. So when you're shooting the pistol and the bullets are impacting low, it's most likely because you're looking over the pistol and you are got the gun below your line of sights. If this is you and you dip your head to the firearm, you're going to shoot low. You do not dip your head to the firearm. You bring your firearm up into your eyes. If you're the Dippy Dipperson, don't do that no more. Don't do that no more. All right. Number 4, and I think this is popular, and this is what the HCS does for you, because one of your challenges is to circle your targets, get your black magic markers out, your red, blue, green, and purple markers, and mark your holes in your target, because your holes are going to tell you what you're doing. The problem for most students is they're not reading their targets. You shoot, but you don't learn. If you're going to evaluate what you do each time, it makes it so much easier. I was telling a student a couple weeks ago in regards to this, I was back there and I was watching them. I was sweeping up a little bit, and they were rushing their first shot and their last shot. They're getting bang, and then they run through all those. And they get. What was funny is we marked 5 different strings, 5-shot strings. And every one of the 5-shot strings, the first one was down, the last one was down. They were pulling the last 2, but the 3 in the middle were good shots. And he just couldn't figure it out. So I said, I figured it out already, haven't you? And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, look at 1 here, look at 5. And that was the red one. And we marked the green one, and we marked the blue one, and we marked the black magic marker. And it told you a story. So what do you need to do here? Well, you need to slow down. You need to slow down because you're anticipating or you're rushing to empty. And this causes us a lot of problems. So when you are actually taking your time to bring that trigger back, painstakingly slow, I tell students once in a while, let's get back to the fundamentals. Let's get back to a slow trigger press. I mean, like, I'm like molasses slow in the middle of Michigan today. Michigan got dumped on with snow, man. But think about how slow that is. I want you to be able to tell me where that trigger needs to be right before the gun goes bang. If you know that, if you've got that in your head, you've got the trigger travel down to a science, then the education is done. We almost know how much pressure we need to put on to stage that trigger to finalize our sight system to cut the shot. And once we've got that down to a science, accuracy becomes ours. It becomes simple. You're building a simple system to become more accurate with a firearm. So every group, you need to ask yourself, where are my misses? What caused that? The target is the coach, right? I don't know. A couple weeks ago, I did a video and I was pointing out this stuff, and it was a Monday morning. The guy left the target up. I got out the markers and I marked it all up for you, and I said it. That's an education in itself. How many of you out there right now? How many of them out there right now can get to the range and shoot 6 or 7 shots and go, "Oh shit, I pulled that." When you pull a trigger, you know you pulled a trigger. It feels like you pulled a trigger. I've got students that never shot a pistol before. In a very short period of time, they can feel that. Just got to remember it. I know it's challenging when you don't get to go to the range as much as you like to, but if you spend enough time dry firing and then live firing and then dry firing and then live firing, you're confusing the hell out of your body. You're confusing the hell out of the monster. Because remember, right now, every time you touch that pistol, it goes bang. So internally, the monster wants to kind of help you with the recoil. We don't want them helping us. Because remember, it's pulling the trigger before you are. It's anticipating the bang before you are. And there becomes our problem. There's the flinching. There's the anticipation. There's the pull. There's the drop of the bullet. There's the impact going where you don't want it to go. That becomes a lot of issues for us. So where are my misses? Well, you can see your misses. They're right there. But what caused them? Could they be caused by trigger finger? Sure. Could they be caused by over gripping with your right hand and ungripping with your left hand? Yeah. Can it do the reverse? Yeah. Right. Can you be having a bad grip, maybe a crushed thumb grip where your thumb's crushed against the gun? Could that cause a problem? Sure. There's a lot of things can cause it. We need to figure out what's the system, what's the one thing we can work on. That's why I say every time, if you're going to go to the range, let's work on something. Let's work on a decent trigger press. Let's work on the line drill. Let's work on stacking them. Let's work on, one-shot drills, right? No target at all. Just get a white piece of paper and work on trying to impact the bullet where you're aiming. Guess what? That's where it's supposed to go. Where your sights are is where the bullet should impact, not below. If you're aiming at the target with your sights, your bullet should impact where your sights are. 90% of students can't do that. They're pulling below it. I can prove it to you. Take a black magic electric tape, put it up here in your line of sight, right here, line of sight. Black electrical tape. What's that? 1 inch? Okay. Now double it. So it's now a little bigger, right? It doesn't have to be exactly 2 inches or 3/4 or whatever black electric tape is. And do 2 lines of that. Now what I want you to do is set that target out at 3 yards. I want you to put 5 rounds in a magazine. I want you to start at left to right. Start at left. Put your sights right on that line and cut your shot. If you hit that black electric tape or a little above the black electric tape, you're doing okay. But if you're hitting below that electric tape, you've done some manipulation of the firearm. You don't have your sight system down exactly where it needs to be. You may be pulling the trigger. You may be, dipping your head to the gun, or there's a lot of little things you can do. But that's a good eye-awakening moment when you go, oh shit, my bullets don't impact where I'm aiming. They aim below where I aim below where I'm aiming. And why is that important for us? Because remember, if we're shooting at a bad guy or shooting at somebody out there, our scenario becomes worse because we're responsible for that bullet until it hits the ground. And if you're not confident to know your bullet can hit that spot, should you be aiming at the bad guy? Now, keep in mind, now we're going to throw a bunch of stress on top of that in a high defense situation. It becomes a little more challenging for us. So paying attention of your sights and your targets and what they're telling you is probably an important thing we need to pay attention to. Number 5 is weak grip. If you have a weak grip, and this is very easy happening to a lot of people, seniors, women, some men can have a weak grip. What tends to happen when you have a weak grip is you're moving the gun during the recoil. Recoil management, John Darby, thank you very much. Rick D, what's going on? Thank you. When the gun's moving during recoil, that's going to impact your bullets where they go. They're going to go up, they're going to go down, they're going to go right, they're going to go left. We need to get a good fix on this. And here's what I'll tell you, and this is what I've been teaching students for an awful long time. It's more in regards to that 60-40 grip we talk about, but we've got to make sure those thumbs are touching the firearm the best we can. And then when we squeeze our hands, we have no gappiness, no open gap in the hand. If the fingers are together and you get your backside load and you get your thumbs on top of each other and you got your wrists locked out, I can tell you you're going to have more control and there'll be less muzzle manipulation. We want that muzzle to go up and down. We do not want it to go down. We want muzzle's going to go up, down, up, down. What you don't want is when you cut a shot and the front post is low, then you're breaking your wrist during the shot, and that becomes a real issue for you. So a video a couple of days ago, we talked about closing our pinkies first. Do the pinky grip close. When you pinky grip close, you can do this right here in front of you right now while watching this. Go ahead and close your pinkies. You're going to roll your thumbs forward, and you're going to feel that grip close up and go up the firearm, and you're going to get a good grip on the firearm. If you're engaging the pistol and you have to open and close your grip, you have a problem with a too loose of a grip. But if you can lock your wrist out, close your hands out, throw those thumbs together, and control that weapon, you're going to get better drive of the firearm. Now, gentlemen, we always talk about we want to drive with our chest muscles, and ladies, you're going to push and pull with your push out with your dominant hand and pull back with your non-dominant. You'll feel it in your back muscles. And gentlemen, you just bring your hands together, squeeze your hands here together, then you close your hands up, roll your thumbs forward. You're going to feel your pecs kick in, and that's how you're going to control the pistol. This right here is the only points of contact on the firearm. You cannot count your trigger finger because it's only supposed to go forward and back, forward and back. It is not supposed to go in and out. It's just going to go front side of the trigger to the wall, front side of the trigger to the wall. So we got our hands proper. So I'm right-handed. I got 3 fingers holding on the gun on this side, and I got 4 fingers holding on the gun on this side. And I roll that hand out, lock those wrists out, put that thumb there. Once I've locked that wrist out, I've got control of the firearm anyways. But consistency, a consistent grip, positive pressure will make every shot consistent. And once you've got that, you're going to start building some confidence. And with confidence comes accuracy, guys. We got to make sure mathematically there's only 3 fingers holding on the gun here, 4 fingers holding on the gun here. That math tells me these 4 fingers are going to give me more power than these 3 fingers. I don't care what pressure you're putting on it. I told the guys last night through the class, Squeeze as hard as you can on both sides, but make sure your dominant hand is just a little less than your non-dominant hand, because your non-dominant hand is doing most of the work, if that makes sense. All right, number 6 is problem focusing on the wrong thing. And everyone's guilty of this, trying to look at our sights, look at our bullet holes, look at everything. Your job really is front sight focus as much as possible. You want to have the hardest focus on that front sight. Make sure it is staying in a position and does not move below the line, but stays up and down. It just rises and falls, rises and falls. If you start doing this front sight focus, your groups will start getting tighter and tighter. You want the hardest focus you can on that front sight. Let the target get a little blurry out there, and your front sight, your back sights will be blurry. The one thing I'll tell you, if you start doing this on a regular basis, it starts becoming easier for you. Your vision does not have to be perfect. You do not have to have your glasses on. All you need to do is see those 30 inches in front of you and find that front sight, whether it's crystal clear or just a tad blurry, as long as your target is blurrier. And if it is, and it's rising and falling in the same spot, your groups will be where they need to be. Front sight focus is a game changer. Instead of trying to focus here, focus on the target, focus on the sights, what we end up running into is we're running into somebody looking up over the gun to see their impact of their bullet, which in turn causes their system or their repeating program they're trying to do not repeatable, because you're all over the place with it. So front sight focus is a key fixture on accuracy, and it is a true game changer. And if you want to know what front sight focus is, obviously the YouTube channel has plenty of videos on that as well. And most everything I'm telling you about is on the Masterclass playlist, if you want to check that out, guys. I think there's 70 videos on the Masterclass playlist that you could spend all day. I thought it was pretty cool as a YouTuber to have 365 videos, which was 2 years ago, basically. Now we're almost at 900. How can you talk about grip, stance, trigger control, sight picture, sight alignment 900 times? But we kind of keep doing it. When one thing comes to another, we're getting a lot of traction with it. So it's kind of a fun little thing. And it is a passion of mine. I love teaching students. I love taking students who haven't shot before and make them the best shooter that they could be. I love doing stuff like this. It makes a difference for me. And if I could take one student and take them from being a gun hater to a gun lover, well, there we go. And I get that a lot, to be honest with you. I get a lot of people who are moving from these crazy states that want to take your gun rights away and moving into the beautiful Florida the gunshine state. And a couple things they do is get that Florida driver's license, then want to get that firearm as soon as they can, because they can, not because they need it. It's because they can. And it's a right that's been taken from them. And now they're able to extradite their Second Amendment rights, and it makes it easier for them. So I love that part of that. Number 7 is no trigger reset awareness. This is slapping the trigger every time. This is not playing reset at all. I'm not a real reset guy. Reset means holding the trigger back to the wall, letting it come forward, feel the click, and prep for the next shot. All I want you to do is prep for the next shot. Whether you're bringing the trigger back to a fast pace but slows down right before bang, or do what I do, and as I drive the pistol out, I'm taking most of the slack out of the pistol until I find that wall area. And once I find that wall, I'm going to concentrate on that front sight and finish it. Now, this is something you need to spend a little bit of time doing before you get in the range and because you don't want that pushing it out, bringing the trigger back, and letting that thing cut. That's the quickest way to get kicked out of a range if the gun's not where it's supposed to be pointed at the time. But there are a couple different ways to prep the trigger. Find the one that works best for you. This can be done through dry firing or at the range. All we need to do is figure how much slack I need to take out of this thing to prepare it to go bang. And then find it again until it becomes muscle memory for us. And the muscle memory factor of this makes it so much easier for you. Number 8, I see most people don't do many dry fire drills. Now, the HTS handgun training system community, these guys live, breathe, eat, and drink dry fire. Because I can tell you, the more time you spend behind the gun prepping a trigger, the more accurate you're going to be. I can prove it to you by just doing 5 live and 5 dead. In other words, do 5 dead dry fires and then do 5 live fires at the range and see how tight your groups get. Now, obviously, you got to have some front sight focus and everything else. But what I'm getting at is we're getting 10 trigger pulls for 5 bullets. Well, that's a game changer in itself, because the more we can get that trigger back in a continuous, consistent cadence, the easier it's going to be for us to consume that and make it part of our system. So dry firing is only done during practice at home. That's not true now. You can do live at home. You can do trigger control at home. But if you mix up live and dead at the range, you'll find that's a game changer, and it changes the way you're thinking about it. And you can actually find yourself manipulating the firearm differently. Dry fire drills are so important. You can do the ball and dummy drill, which is an awesome drill, where if you are shooting with a buddy, you take 5 bullets, you pull the one out, you put a dummy round in, mix up where that dummy round is when you load the magazines, and then bet a beer, bet $1, whatever, to see who will flinch the most when you cut those shots. Because if you cut shot number 1 and it fires, and shot number 2 and it fires, and then shot number 3 and it fires, and the dummy round is coming, you don't know where it's going to come. And all of a sudden that 4th shot, if you cut that shot and it just goes click, are you going to keep the pistol level, or is it going to dump down on you a little bit? If it dumps down on you a little bit, well, you had a little bit of anticipation in this, or anticipation, and that's going to be a problem for us. We don't want that, so we fight ourselves from doing that. This is a great drill. It offers you a lot of stuff, but if you're not doing that kind of stuff, you're not challenging yourself enough, it's going to be a common thing to have the manipulation happening. Dry fire at home, working on trigger control, working on grip, working on sight alignment. This is where the real progress happens, guys. I told a guy yesterday, or 2 days ago, 3, maybe they all run together after a while. Dry firing is your practice. The range is your proof. Dry fire is your practice, and the range is your proof. Prove to me, prove to yourself that you're a consistent shooter by dry firing enough to get yourself consistent. Number 9, I've already said this, but is shooting too far, too soon, too fast. Trying to shoot 15 and 25 yards without fundamentals is a waste of ammo. I tell every student, do the drills at a distance you can conquer. Don't care what it is. If you're the hell of a shot and you can shoot 15 yards, you do it, cowboy. No problem. But if you're consistently dropping 4 or 5 of those out of the target, then we need to come back in to a distance you can conquer it. That's why there's a couple reasons why, but one of the reasons is the camera. 3 yards is easy for me to videotape and everything else like that. But I do most of my training classes at 3 yards. Students always want to push it back. Let me push it. No, not pushing it back yet. You haven't got them all in the target yet. Pushing it back is just going to make it worse. And then you should conquer yourself. I don't want you to stay at 3 yards. If you think you can, if you are, let's say we did 50 rounds and you're able to put 35 or 40 into the target at that distance, I would consider that a conquer and move on, But the moment you start pulling or jerking or getting them out, stay at that zone until you conquer it and then move on. Remember, our target base that I like to see is Amazon has the 3-inch circles. They're stickies, right? And then we have the paper plate, which is I call a cake plate, right? When you go to a party, they have the cake plates, which is probably 6. And then we have the 8-inch paper plate. Those 3 should be mixed up in your portfolio. I don't want you to try to shoot a 3-inch circle at 30 yards. But if you can do that, great, wonderful. But as you get further out, the more manipulation can happen to the firearm. So our groups can be a little wider at those distances. Now, obviously, the tighter they are at those distances, the further we can shoot out, if that makes sense. But we gotta try it once in a while to see where we are, though, and I don't want you to stop from doing that. But that's not when you do it. You don't do it too soon. You don't do it first thing, right? You do it when you're warmed up, if that makes sense. I said to a guy the other day, dry firing is your bucket of balls at the range. How many of you golf? And if you do, you know when you shoot a bucket of balls before you go out onto the first tee, you normally stretched a little bit and you can get a good swing going and you're going to feel a lot more comfortable. When you are late to tee time and you have no time and you don't even get time to tie your shoes until they put you on the first tee, well, what do you think that first drive is going to feel like? It's like bowling every Friday night. Us old you can just see us all like, oh my God, oh, that felt terrible. Oh, because we don't get, you got a 14-pound ball and you're throwing it on your side and you're working through, and it's just all kinds. So that's kind of what we're trying to do with these short distances. Short distances, extend. Before you leave, come back in and do short distances. Leave on a win. This is one thing I see so many people, they go in there, they shoot 300 rounds and are leaving fatigued and upset because their targets look like they're shooting a shotgun versus shooting a handgun. They're all over the place. And that's really not, that's just shooting. That's not training. Are you shooting or are you training? And there's a difference there. The fix really for shooting too long, too far, too soon is to start at 3 yards. Start at 3 to 5 yards, build tight groups, then move back. Only move back when your groups are tight. And when I say tight, I don't mean cloverleaf type. I mean tight. They're good, right? You got a 3-inch circle and you're able to keep it in the 3-inch circle. They don't have to be on top of each other, but if they're in that 3-inch circle, then that's tight group. That's tight group 3, 5, and 7, right? Then when you get past 10, you may have to open your sights up just a little bit. Build tight groups, then move back. And number 10, the thing I see mostly is chasing a hole instead of the group. Adjusting your aim after every shot, this is a mistake in itself. What I'd recommend is shoot 2 mags, 5 rounds at a piece in groups, then evaluate the group. You'll see where your point of impact is because they'll be more consistent. Focus on consistency, not luck. And that's kind of what we want to kind of give you the concept here. The more we kind of are consistent and the groups are getting pretty good, you're going to start seeing where they open up a little bit. You're going to see when they start closing up a little bit. And then you should be able to feel a good shot versus a bad shot. And when you find that good shot and you find that good area or that good where the gun needs to be, it becomes a lot easier for us. And we're not focusing on trying to make one little tight little hole with all of them in there. Tell you the truth, that's more of a bullseye thing, and I'm not teaching any of y'all to be bullseye shooters. I'm teaching to be a defensive shooter. And that battle triangle starts at the shoulders and goes to the groin. That's a pretty big area. You don't need to be a marksman for that. You just got to be first. You just got to be first. In a scenario where when shit hits the fan, it's important that you are the first one and not the last. All right. So I put together something for you that I want to kind of give you this little simple range formula because I think people look at shooting as being this complicated, mathematical. It's not, guys. Trust me. It's simple. Accuracy equals grip, sights, and trigger. So grip, sight, and trigger. But if one of those are off, your shots will tell you. I would recommend that you spend some time watching our YouTube channel. If you want to spend a little more time with us and you want to join the HTS system, and if you're tired of wasting ammo, you want to join our Skool community, the QR code is up top there, right there. If you're at home watching this from the YouTube TV, which is unique now, I'm getting a lot of people from YouTube TV saying, we were watching on TV, John. I can tell you that's a good way to get into it. And the Skool community is absolutely free. Not only are you getting the 4-week masterclass with this, you're getting our eBooks. You're getting any targets that are there. Anything that's open, you're able to try it. You're able to get that one-on-one call, onboarding call for free from us, which is on our YouTube, which is on our Skool community. We do have upgrades on this, guys. You can upgrade to a premium or a VIP. If you do the VIP, which is, I think it's $28 a month, that gives you everything for $28 a month. That means all the ebooks. Well, I think they have 10 ebooks. You get all the ebooks for free. You get all the masterclass stuff for free. You get the non-resident concealed carry online class for free. It's not for free, obviously. You're paying $28 a month. But the one thing neatly is you get the ability to get that one-on-one time with me. Get the 4 more calls during the week, and the VIPs actually get my phone number, my personal phone number, and they're able to work through fundamentals. And I've given this to everybody so far, but when the VIPs started we started signing up the VIPs. at that point in time, I wanted to give the VIPs something a little special, and that's what we're doing. Supporting a family-owned business through Skool community is something that helps us generate a little bit of income. So when we want to get more cameras and other stuff like that, it's easier to do. Guys, I really appreciate you being here this evening. I can tell you this, your next step is to become the best shooter you can be. Whether you come visit us locally, if and this is the thing I will tell, and I tell everybody, I've had many people from YouTube come to see me and travel along the way to see me. And I will make you this promise. I had a guy from the Antarctic come to Florida, take a training class with me, and he actually paid for the class, and I didn't even know he was one of my subs until he told me when he was leaving. I tried to give him, but here's my promise to you: you're part of my family when you're on one of these things, and if you make the trip by driving or by flying, and you want to do things, set it up with me, and it's gratis, guys, absolutely free. I got no issue for it. You spent the money, the time to come see me. I want to give you that time, and I have no problem. So 1 hour class, absolutely free. Just tell me you are from YouTube and you are traveling and you come here by there or whatever you want to do, and that works out for them. And obviously, because of our training facility, if you don't bring your firearm, we have firearms and all that stuff like that. So we're here to help you, support you, and make you the best shooter you can be. Well, I'm John, the firearms instructor. I specialize in you. I appreciate you being here this evening with me. We do these lives every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. to get the California guys, because they were having to get up they had to be in class at 4. So we've moved it to 8 o'clock for this purpose. I'd like to go up and say thank you to some of the people, read some comments, and we'll end it on that. Mark 12, J12, thank you. D. Marshall, he's my cow guy. Kurt Richards, thank you very much. RMYKJUATON, good evening, boss. He was my guy from the Philippines. Thank you. Jazz, thank you. Say hello to your wife. Bobulation. D. Mike, New Jersey. There we go. Mike K. Johnson. I love your videos. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Mantis. Mike Drummer said Mantis. John Deborah. Good evening to all. Thank you. Hi, John, amateur target shooter in Colorado. Please share your take on the importance of practicing weak hand, strong hand shooting. Yes, very good. I'm actually doing a couple videos here. Next uploads, 2 uploads. I would tell you the large percentage of people do not practice with their non-dominant hand over top of being one-handed. It becomes a little challenging for you. Where that challenge is if you lose your dominant hand during a fight, and you're not out of the fight, you got to be able to do what you can do with the other hand. Now, uniquely, there are a little bit of different things you got to do, but you got to be very aware that the firearm is going to cut a little bit, so we got to kind of cant it a little bit. But there are very important things of practicing one-handed to get your feel of it. Now, weirdly for me, I'm right-handed and right-eye dominant. But when I shoot right-handed, right-eye dominant, obviously the pistol's right over my right eye, and I turn my chin to get there. But when I'm left-handed and left-eye dominant, I turn my chin to the left and use my left eye to look through the left pistol. It works a lot better for me, and I'm a lot more accurate doing that way. So there is a Guppy, what's going on, man? There is a positive and negative each. I will tell you, one of the important things you got to do is you got to get that double grip going on. You almost got to drive your chest muscles. You almost want to feel it, and you want to keep your non-dominant hand, your hand you're not using, get it away from that firearm as much as possible by grabbing your chest like this, grab your shirt like this, and push out in front of you. Well, I always turn the gun sideways. It's not like the gangster thing, but it's canting it just enough because technically sights on a pistol are a convenience. They're not necessity. What I'm trying to do is level the pistol up. I'm going to use the rail of the firearm, the edge of the slide a little bit. I won't be using the sights as much as you would think you would have to. You're going to use more of the side of the gun as an aiming device, or a pointing device, I should say, because a lot of times in point shooting, we're not using the sights anyways, if that's makes sense. But yeah, thank you, Rick. That's a good thing. There are plenty of YouTube videos on there on shooting one-handed, so I'd recommend you take a look at those. Now, Guppy, thank you for being here. Rick, I agree with John. Go slow and 1,000 times builds quality and technique. Speeds will come naturally. You might not even notice it, and you don't. You don't. Phil, what's up, buddy? Thank you very much for being here, Phil. Phil's one of my HTSers from about a year and a half ago. He's been with me a long. Him and Kurt Richards are the ones that have been here the longest as far as that goes, and I appreciate them very much. They helped me build the HTS system, those two. So I appreciate them very much. Jessica Brown, what's going on, Jessica? Thank you very much for being here. She's one of our HTSers. Albine Spinal, thank you very much. Very professional content. Love your training. Thank you. I love you guys too. Albin from New Jersey, new to concealed carry. Welcome. And D, again, guys, thank you very much. It means the world to me to be able to do this each week. If you haven't been to our YouTube channel, I highly recommend you hit the bell icon, the like, and the subscribe button. And every time we upload a video just like this one, you'll be the next, and you'll be informed. They'll say, hey, by the way, John's about to kick off a live, or John's about to dump a video, or whatever it is. So we have shorts, we have the YouTube videos, we have the live, we have the Skool community. Where else you want to go, guys? I'm here for you. Until next time, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line defense. We'll see you, folks. Love you very much. Good night.